Afternoon. Oh, afternoon. I feel like a council worker or road worker leaning on the old shovel. Doing, yeah, okay. Troughs, most of the troughs are in. Now, what you have to bear in mind is this is only temporary. These are not staying here long term because eventually this is all going to be landscaped and they'll be moved around. I'm lucky I have the equipment to be able to move these guys. So even when they're fully planted now, I can still pick them up. I can move them. I can put them exactly where I want. A lot of the plants that you see us planting now, were actually ripped out of our troughs that were at our previous address. So that's why some of them are in oversized, what I class as oversized pots for alpine rock garden type plants. But we'll get them squeezed in here somewhere. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to plant two up. So I'm going to plant up this guy here today. And that's going to be, that'll be alpine stuff. Just high mountainous region plant material that likes lots of sunshine and good free draining. Now, although this is in the shade now, it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This has been in the sun since the sun came up this morning. So that was, I don't know what time that is. It comes over the top of the tree somewhere around about 6:30. So this is pretty well full sun. So the second one is a much deeper trough. And this is, I'm going to try a couple of different things. I'm going to try a Jack Maple in here, actually, one of my own Bloodgood seedlings. And there's a couple of other plants I've got here as well that really possibly shouldn't be put in a trough, but I'm going to give it a try. If you don't try these things, you don't know. So that'll be the two for today. The others I'm going to get planted up over the next few days. I will video it and then we'll show you what they look like once they're finished. I am going to do a crevice style as well, and that one we'll talk you through because that one is a little different.
And we also said we were going to do a miniature hosta.
Yeah, I'm going to do a hosta one. We'll plant it up. And then I'm going to put it into the shade tunnel for now because I'm not quite sure where I want to put it outside. But again, I'm lucky. It's got to be accessible because I'm going to use all miniatures in it and dwarfs. And they're going to have to go inside or we're going to have to do something else to protect them. But we'll go over that when we get to the hosta one. This is the soil I dug out when I put the polytunnels in. It's pretty sandy, as you can see. And it drains really well. So this will be really good for the alpine. Any of the alpine material will love it in this. I will add a little bit of grit to it as well. But the alpines do not want fertilizer, do not want rich soil. They want poor quality, free draining, medium to root into. And they'll get all their nutrients. This, although this is sandy, this is very, very high in nutrients. So that will be for the alpine material. And then on the other side here, I've got a mix. This is a mix of that soil I just showed you with some of the manure. And I did this last fall, so it's been sat all winter. This will go for like the Japanese maple. One or two of the conifers will want a little bit of extra soil around them. But that's the two composts I'm going to use or compost. Substrate, I don't know what you want to call it. But that's what I'm going to use today. And then the crevice one and any others we do, again, it'll be a different mix, but we'll go into that once we get to it. So this trough has 4 nice drainage holes in it and they need covering up, otherwise they'll bung up. So I'm just using what we call, the term is crocks. I'm not quite sure where that term comes from. I'll have to find out one day and for my own satisfaction. And I have a lot of these tiny pots that I don't use anymore. I don't like them. They're not very conducive to me to growing good plants. So over and around that, I'm just going to put a little bit of my 4mm gravel just to keep this terracotta stuff in place. I'm not filling the whole of the bottom of the trough. Just enough just to keep those in place. There is a little bit of organic material in this, which I'm taking the worst out. Generally, the high alpine plants dislike organic material in the root, around the root system. It can cause them to rot in actual fact. So don't put any peat within your compost. If you're growing high alpines in your troughs, it wants to be sandy gravel. The other point to make, no fertilizer. You will get leggy, tall, straggly, weak plants that will not flower. If you think where alpines come from, it's high region, very poor soil conditions. They get all the nutrients from the rock, shale that is surrounding them. So now you've got your trough full-ish, you can start landscaping. So that's a personal thing. Depends what you can get out of. I'm lucky, I've got a bit of tufa here. I have some big chunks as well for what we're going to use later. But this has got moss on it. Actually, the moss has got really dry. So I'm going to take most of it off, believe it or not. It will take over and hide completely the tufa. And the tufa is a really soft volcanic stone. So it's a personal thing, however you want to arrange it. So once you've set your plants out, bearing in mind the Delospermum, 1, 2, 3 are not hardy. So in this situation, as I say, they're not hardy. There's 3 colours there, but I'll take some cuttings off them in the end of the summer and overwinter them inside. But it's a little splash of colour, and they'll flower all summer. They're Mesmobranchium family. Livingston daisy is its common name. Don't see it very often, but lots of sunshine, likes it baking hot. And then we have also in here a little miniature box, which will actually go yellow. Lewisia. So that's Lewisia cotyledon, that's a mix, don't know what that is. We have a little sempervivum back here. And then if Julie comes to the other side, we have a ratty looking saxifraga, which, as I say, was ripped out of one of our troughs previously. We have another little primula, seed raised. And then we have a primula auricular at the back. Now, it may be a little hot for this one, but I'm hoping once it gets going, it gets its roots under the rock, it'll be cool enough for it. But we'll give it a try and see. If you don't try, you don't know. Nice easy digging with the old finger. Not a bad root system on. These aren't mine. We bought these from the nursery. What's this one? This is amethyst. I will keep the label for it. But what you'll notice also, what you'll notice, I've been planting these high. All of them are being planted high because it's all going to get top dressed with gravel. So I leave them a little bit high so that once I put the gravel on, they're at the right height. Another one, this one's not got a label, so who knows. But again, not a bad little root system. And we'll definitely appreciate being out here in the sun. Firm it in. Just tidy up the mess around it. Now the Lewisia is one of mine, grown from seed. The trick with these and overwintering them is to plant them on their side. They do not like water, and it's the snow melt in the spring. Sitting in here, it rots the crown out. Oh, that's got a nice root on it, and it's going to be tight getting it in there. So what I'm going to do, just for a minute, I'm going to move the rock over. I'm going to make the hole, and then he's going to go in on the side. He's not planted upright, he's on its side. Then we'll get a bit of extra soil. Then, once I've got it in, I'll squish the rocks back together. There. That will flatten out a little bit over time. It's a bit odd at the moment, but it'll be fine. Push that in. So lift up any foliage so that it sits on top of the gravel. You can get a Formula limestone. HPB, they call it here in Ontario, high performance bedding, does the same thing, but that one's limestone based, which is ideal if you want to do a trough with, say, something like dianthus. Here, most of this stuff is acid loving, but because we've got a sandy soil, our soil is acid anyway. But bear that in mind when you're planting anything. Check what your water, if you have to put something in a planter, check your water. It's no good trying to grow a plant, a Japanese maple, if you've got calcium rich water and all you're doing is throwing calcium on it all the time. But these guys, they love our water. I've seen an improvement in all our plant material since we moved. They really have. So that's it. The gravel goes on. It does two things. One, it does help retain a little bit of moisture, does keep a little bit of the weeds down, but also it gives mosquito. It also gives a somewhere for anything that's going to seed, somewhere to drop seed and root into. And you'll find with a trough, if you've got gravel on there, you get a lot of self-seeding. And plants will establish really quickly in this, and then they'll start to root into the surface. So that's that one finished. I'll give it a really good soak. I'm going to step back, see what it looks like. It's not bad. It'll do.
Nice.
So that's a Alpine type with poor soil, really, really good drainage. So the next one we're going to do is going to be a little different. So this one is obviously much deeper. Only got one drainage hole in this one. I don't quite know why I did that. One big drainage hole. Still works. This is one of my very first ones I made. It's a really strong mix on this one. This one's probably 10 years, at least 10 years old, and it's barely weathered at all. It's got a bit of lichen on it, but it's certainly not chipped broken. And I know this one had a lot of reinforcing in it when I built it. I went overboard with this on the first one. But it's held up, but boy is it heavy. It's definitely a tractor job to move this one. So this has just got a mix of our sandy soils, a bit of cow manure in here. There's looks like a bit of sod mixed in as well, because this is going to have a slightly different range of plants in it. They don't all have to be alpines, but you've got to bear in mind, if you're in a cold climate like we are here, because these are elevated, you'll lose the plants through the winter months, not the summer. So pick and choose what you plant. So I'm going to put a little bit of our potting mix in here as well. Not much, I'm going to make a bit of a layered job. I'll put a bit of that in, mix it in. So you can see it's not mixed overly thoroughly, but at the end of the day, there's some real good free draining stuff in here, so they're not going to certainly not going to waterlog over the winter. There's a nice bit of organic material in here. And then finally, I'm going to top off with our potting compost. I've thrown the rocks in. I'm going to...
Oh, what type of rocks are these guys?
This is just dragged out of the hedgerow. And then the plants. So let's start with this one. This one is, I want to say it's at least 10 years old. And it's been moved 3 or 4 times. And it got ripped out of a trough similar to this one last summer. Didn't think it would survive, but it did. So yeah, it's a Juniperus communis wiltoni, I think. But again, I can check and we'll find out that. Then we have a little tiny geranium grown from seed, as usual, lost the label. Little small scabiosa called Blue Eyes. I think it'll be okay here on the corner. Whether, again, it'll go through the winter, don't know. We'll take cuttings of it. And then I have a small conifer, Chamaecyparis piscifera plumosa sucuma. Again.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. Again, don't know. Got to give it a try. And then I have a little miniature heuchera. It's actually quite pretty, that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. One of my blood good maples, which I'm going to try. I'm going to see. These are much hardier than what you'll buy from the garden centres and nurseries. Grown this from seed. This one was overwintered outside in a cold frame. So the only difference now is the fact that this trough is obviously elevated and it will freeze up pretty well solid for the winter, but we'll see. We'll give it a try. Tiny little no-name hosta. Don't know where it came from. As some of our...
You found it yesterday?
Yeah, it turned up yesterday, shall we say, in amongst all the other stuff. And then a little dwarf Berberis compacta aurea. Again, it's a nice colour. Whether it'll overwinter, I don't know. I don't mind taking a chance. I'm lucky I have spares of all of this stuff. If I don't have spares of it, I'll take some. If I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose it, I'll take cuttings. And everybody, you can all do that. You can all take cuttings of plant material. It's very easy, especially late in the summer. And then root a few cuttings and it gives you a replacement if you do lose them. Nice top. A well-proportioned root system for the size of the top of the plant. Now, looking at that, everybody, that needs repotting. No, it doesn't. That does not need repotting. That is fine. That could go actually for the whole of this year if I wanted to in that pot, as long as I keep it watered. As I say, nice proportion, nice little plant. Now, there's no fertilizer in this at the moment. What I'm going to do is I will liquid feed this stuff once it gets settled in the summer. Hang on, I got to lean on something. I'll lean on the brush. Where's my shovel? Yeah, going to give this a good soak. Just a quick recap. Drainage. Doesn't matter whether they're alpines or whether they're perennials. You need to make sure you've got good drainage in these planters, in these troughs. Otherwise, they will sit wet. So number one, make sure you've got good drainage. Appropriate mix that you're planting them into for the plants. So as we said, this was a different mix to the alpines. So if you want to do the alpines, make sure that you use a really poor, really free draining mix. Doesn't matter what the mix is, as long as it's poor quality, very low nutrients and really good drainage. Preferably, most of the alpines you'll find are going to want full sun. And as we said, although this is in the shade now, it's been in the sun since 6 o'clock this morning until 4 o'clock. So that's way more than enough sunshine. No fertilizer. Do not fertilize these things at all. Don't need it. Obviously, you've got to keep them wet through the summer. And then the challenge may be with some of the things that you plant, winter, you may lose them. Take a few cuttings if you're not sure. Very easy. And we'll go over that. In the late summer, early fall, you'll see us taking cuttings of material that I'm not sure is going to survive. So what I'm going to do now, so that's part one of this trough planting. I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've still got 7 more to do. So I'll plod away at those over the next few days. They're all going to be different styles, different toppings, different stonework in them. So we'll have all of this ready for you for next week. So until next time, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. And goodbye for now. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.